Hi, thanks for tuning in to our Atomic-Moto review of the Forma Terrain TX for 2015. Now, we have a completely new setup here, new studio, new lighting, new equipment, the whole deal. So for first video, we're really looking forward to getting started here. But first, some info on this boot. Now, the Forma Terrain TX is a model that we've had in our line for about 3 years, and we're revisiting it because they've made a new version of it and they've done some upgrades. It's a really premium, rugged, really high quality, mechanically hinged boot. They made a lot of big improvements to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they did and how it worked out. Let's get started. First, let's start with some of the basics for the Terrain TX for 2015. Now, it retails for $279. The price has not changed. That's a very good thing. It comes in sizes 39, which is about a 5.5 US, all the way up to size 49, which is roughly a size 14. The boot weighs about 4.06 pounds. That's actually a slight increase over the previous iteration. Don't know where the weight went, but we have some guesses as to what that is. As far as the positioning in the market, it's a mid-priced motocross boot, and its closest competition is models like the Guernet G-React and the Alpine Stars Tech 5. All right, the construction of this boot is one of the highlights of the product. First of all, this is, you guessed it, something we love to talk about. The Terrain TX has a full mechanical hinge, and that means that the plastic pieces, motocross boots have a lot of plastic, right? The plastic pieces on the lower part of the and the upper part of the boot pivot mechanically right here, and it is a full hinge, meaning it has a hinge here on the outer side and then also again on the inner side. There's a lot of plastic on this boot. Plastic shin plate, which is a new design, by the way. Something that's really cool about this model is the entire lower foot, all of this area, 360 degrees, all the way around your lower foot, is encased in plastic. Yet, because it has a mechanical hinge, it still has a good amount of flex. The shin plate I had mentioned is a new design. One of the cool things about the shin plate design that is new is the buckle mounts. The female buckle receivers now pivot, which is very nice for adjustment. It helps keep the buckles aligned when you're actually addressing various sizes of calves. The buckles have a nice aluminum design. They are a male-female pass-through system, very similar to Guernet. They're simple, they're rugged, they're strong, they're easy to replace, they don't break, and if they do, Forma has replacements available. That's a very good thing. There's also a nice heel counter here and a pretty good sized calf plate. There's not so much material exposed on the back here as on some other boots. And so once again, I want to reemphasize how much plastic is all around this boot, yet it still pivots really easily mechanically. Inside the boot, this is an area where they've made some improvements. Let me open it up here. The inside ankle area, in and around here, basically, if I were to draw a perimeter on the outside, this area has a much thicker and more heavy padding, and there's a recess right around this area to nest your ankle bones, your malleolus bones in there. That's a good thing. I mentioned the smart pivoting strap mounts. That's really clever. It has a new burn guard. The previous burn guard was a leather material, and the new burn guard is now a silicone-based rubber material. Here it's quite large. That's a good thing. It really is good for keeping the material from melting onto your exhaust pipe if you don't have a heat guard there. New gaiter around the top. It closes up a little bit more nicely. And then, okay, one of the most important details about this, and this is also something we love very much, has a welt sole. And that means this is Goodyear welting or Norwegian welting, which is old school rugged boot construction. It's stitched on. It's really stiff and rugged, and it can be resoled. So that's the construction wrap up on this boot. All good details. Let's talk about the sizing and the fit. First, the sizing. Fit and sizing are separate, by the way. So first, let's address the sizing. Now the sizing of this, it's sold in the European scale, which means you need to think in the European scale when you're picking your size. Think EU size first, then convert to US. And that's from 39, which again is roughly a 5.5, all the way up to 49, which is roughly a size 14. Now, incidentally, speaking to size, the conversion that Forma uses, Forma Italy and Forma USA uses on their site is wrong in our opinion. We have created our own conversion. Forma just designates the conversion as each EU increment being the same as each one full US size increment, and that's not accurate. It's really close to about 7/10. And so the farther you go away from size 9, which is the sample size on this boot, the more off you get. We created our own sizing chart on it. And if you follow our sizing chart, this is generally a pretty good fitting, true to size boot. I hate that phrase, it's overused, but if you follow our US conversion, it's pretty true to size, and of course their European sizing is very true to size. A 43 fits like a 43, a 45 fits like a 45, 47 fits like a 47, etc. It's a pretty wide fit. I'm going to flip this around and we'll drop in some detail shots of it, but the forefoot of this boot is nice and wide. There's a moderate amount of volume vertically, and that's a good thing. Enough for a footbed, but not an excessive amount. But the boot fits pretty wide. The heel area of the boot, and this is something that's really tricky, and you can see it. I'm going to hold this thing up so you can take a look at it. The heel of this boot is nice and slim. It really cups your heel and your ankle in place really well. But perhaps the nicest thing about the fit is this boot has visibly and physically one of the slimmest, most compact, most trim and supportive ankles of any boot we sell. It's really narrow in this area. Really did a great job of shaping all the plastic parts, because remember these are injection molds. They did a great job of shaping all the plastic parts for this particular boot. The ankle area is super slim. One of the slimmest of any boots that we sell. So that's the straight skinny on sizing. Okay, time to give some commentary, some opinion on this particular boot. First, I'd like to start with a few comments about Forma themselves, Forma the brand. They are truly a brand on the rise. They're based in Northern Italy. They're in that culture of super high quality footwear, super high quality boot making. And they've been at this a very long time. I'm familiar with them from back in the Fox days when they built hundreds of thousands of boots for me. And they did a terrific job. They continue to step their quality up with each subsequent year. And when you look at the sewing and the molding and the assembly of their product now, they're not second to anybody. They're really doing a great job. And I'm very cautious about those kinds of bombastic statements, but they are really kicking some ass, doing a great job. This particular boot is one of the most competitive in their line, and they made some nice changes for a variety of reasons. Now, they made the upper part of the boot, this area, which includes a new shin plate and a new burn guard here, a little bit larger. They increased the circumference of it a little bit, so it's easier to use with a knee shin guard. It fits better when it actually is used as it is intended. The floating straps, that's a nice deal, because as the shin plate moves out and back, it changes the angle of the strap, and this allows them to pivot and to align more closely with the buckle. Are you taking notice, Garde? The overall design of the boot, though, is one of the most important things to talk about, and then maybe the significance of this in the market is this is a good time to talk about that. The Forma Terrain TX is the least expensive, fully mechanically hinged boot available from a European manufacturer. You know, in other product categories, gloves, boots, etc., where it's made doesn't matter so much. In motorcycle boots, the Italians still do it best. And this is the least expensive mechanically hinged boot that you can find from that particular region. And it is a terrific, terrific execution. Not just a good design, but a terrific execution. Great product, great price. We sort of struggle for an analogy for how to describe it, because there's a unique way that they achieve the price point of this. Instead of using crummy materials, they basically edited the materials list down. Here's an analogy that'll help this make sense. This is like a pickup truck that is a base model with a bench seat and a rubber mat floor and roll down windows. They left some of the fluffy stuff off. It doesn't have quite as, no leather interior. But the important thing is that the basic running gear of this model is as rugged and sturdy as it gets. How that manifests itself is that the chassis of the boot is really, really sturdy. There's a lot less padding in the forefoot because padding is quite expensive. A good amount of the ankle where it's needed, they're left a little bit off in the forefoot. This is one of the boots that really benefits from having a footbed. But if you're talking about the protective capabilities of this boot, is frankly as good as some of the highest priced models in the market. If you try to grab the forefoot of this and bend it, no matter how hard I do it, you cannot. So if you have a frontal impact here, if you have your feet on the pegs, really locked on, you're standing and you strike a stationary object like a rock or a stump, it will not fold up and bend and hurt you. Yet, if you need to bend your toe downward for braking or upward for shifting because of the mechanically hinged pivoting at the ankle area, you can very easily do that. Who is this boot for? It's another important category, another important comment, excuse me. We feel that this is, we have seen this firsthand work across a wide variety of users. It's a great off-road boot. It's a great motocross boot, obviously, that's what it's intended for. Because it's fairly light and rugged and has a nice pivot to it, it makes a great dual sport boot for light adventure touring. If you're really doing more aggressive adventure touring, for adventure touring, this is a great fit because it's got a ton of support, like lots of motocross boots, but it's not so cumbersome that it is a complete turnoff. As far as who this is compared to, the closest comparison in the market to this is definitely the Guernet G-React. And we feel that that's a great boot. We love the Guernet brand, but this one frankly is a little bit better, and there's an easy reason why. The G-React has a half mechanical hinge. Has a pivot on one side, but does not have a pivot on the outer side. This is a fully mechanically hinged boot, European made, with a ton of protection, a great fit, and extremely commendable durability, all for a great price. It really is, we're talking about a really hardcore piece of equipment. There's nothing that comes close to this sort of price point. That's highly bomber recommend. We really dig it. It's about the best value in the category. So that is our revisit review of the Forma Terrain TX for 2015. It's a great product. You really should check it out. We are Atomic-Moto, www.atomic-moto.com, home of the bombers. We are a small online product-focused dealership. Really, I want to emphasize the product focus. We have great customer service. We really spend a lot of time picking and choosing what we sell and understanding how it's going to work for you out on the field on a motorcycle. We back that up with great customer service, really easy return policies, free shipping. We're great folks. We hope you check us out. We hope to see you out on the bike.